What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Thursday, November 30th, the final day of November, a month in which under Ron Rivera, the Commanders usually dominate, but this year there was no Mickey Mouse win streak. The team is now falling to 4-8 and stare 4-9 in the face as the Miami Dolphins come to town. We're going to be previewing the game later tonight on the channel. But fresh off the presses, Nicki Jhabvala of the Washington Post, always holding us down with the immediate content when it comes to the Washington Commanders, has comments from our owner and managing partner of the Commanders, Josh Harris. First, we've heard of him since he released a memo following up Ron's memo, letting Ron know you got a little bit too much dip on your chip, letting us know the clarity of why Jack Del Rio and Brent Visselmeyer, DB's coach, defensive coordinator and DB coach, were let go of last week. This is the first we've heard Josh speak in detail in quite some time. He's at the Sports Business Journal's Deal Makers Conference, and he speaks on winning culture, the new stadium, what they're looking to accomplish as owners, and their bit of a measured and pragmatic approach and not rushing to make decisions in year one of a complete culture overhaul and rebuild in DC. Nicki quotes Josh as saying, "You got to win, and everyone wants to win. Sometimes it takes a while. We've done it in a bunch of sports, and I'm highly confident we're going to do it here with the Commanders." Among ownership's priorities in year one was to engage with football operations. He added, "Obviously, all of us are disappointed by the performance on the field. We're focused on that and want to finish the season strong. What we want to do is create a culture in Washington where players in the NFL say, this is where we want to play. That's why I think you have to be measured with what you do. What we're trying to accomplish here is we want elite teams that consistently compete for championships. On FedEx Field, we're going to improve the existing stadium as much as we can while we look for a new home. It's the bones. It's not the bones necessarily. The way modern stadiums are set up, they're very different than stadiums that are older. Having a stadium that is accessible to the entire DMV at large, the best we can manage that is very important. Obviously, RFK was a place where opposing teams didn't want to play, so we had an extra man on the field. It was an edge, a competitive advantage, right? So how do you create an edge for your team? That's an important way to think about it in terms to the new stadium. I've grown up with sovereign wealth funds. I think they're astute investors and believe they can be helpful. I know when asked about the team's name long term, I know that's a topic people in Washington want to talk about, but we're focusing on things that are really important right now. Put the name conversation into perspective. We'll handle that another time. Those are the owner's comments. Winning culture, sustained winning culture, sustained contention, a team that has a ticket to the dance year in, year out, a stadium that gives the team a competitive advantage, creating a destination that players, coaches, executives worldwide want to come join, be a part of. These are words you never heard and never acted upon by his predecessor, Daniel M. Snyder. These are the words from our owner. And it shows again why he hasn't pulled the trigger on a guy he's going to pull the trigger on coming up in January. He's not interested in any of the candidates on the current staff to be the new GM or the new coach. That is why he has not let go of Ron Rivera yet. He's not interested in any interim coach situation. They are going to hire a GM, football operations. First thing he said was, we want to engage and understand football operations. Football operations is the front office, the brass, the football guys in charge of making decisions. The type of owner Josh Harris has shown he's been with his other franchises is that he will pay top dollar to hire elite level executive to run the outfit so he does not have to meddle like that guy down in Carolina or like the guy we had to live through for 25 years. You see what Dave Tepper's doing in Carolina? Fired a guy after 11 weeks. A guy who actually wanted to draft the other quarterback, made him draft one, and then made him the fall guy for his mistake. That is meddling. The owner should have nothing to do about players drafted. The owner should not have anything to do with personnel or the football side. He even said the name conversation takes a backseat to more important pressing issues. He said, we'll get to that when we get to it. We're trying to get a new stadium, a new team headquarters. We're trying to build a winner here. For those of you who think a rebuild means 5 years, I would like you to turn your attention to the Indianapolis Colts, the Houston Texans. Both hired rookie coaches this year, Shane Steichen in Indy, D'Amico Ryans in Houston. First-year head coaches, both drafted second and third in the draft. They were the second worst and third worst teams in the league. Both drafted quarterbacks early. One lost their quarterback early. One's quarterback is shining and is an MVP candidate. They are both in the playoff picture. Houston sits a game out of the 7th wild card spot. The Colts currently sit at the 6th seed in the stacked AFC conference, the conference that has all the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. It does not take 3 to 5 years to build a culture. And while it can take a while to establish this sustained winning culture, if you make the right hires, you hire the right football people who then hires the right coaching staff, your team can compete right away. You go from being a competitor and competing to contending and in consistent contention. That is how you build it. Those of you turning on the owners before they've had their chance to actually mold the clay of the Washington Commanders skeleton that they picked up, it's way too soon for that. It's way too soon for that. Hold your horses. These guys are about to cook. Let them grab the skillet and let them cook this offseason. We're going to see exactly what they have in mind. We're going to see exactly how they want this thing built out. They hired an analytics guy. That was Eugene Shin, head of football strategy and analytics for Washington. That tells us so much about how they want to run things. That's why I haven't believed any of these reports that Bill Belichick were interested in trading picks for a 71-year-old who has not looked the same since the greatest quarterback ever left his organization to run the team and be the coach. That goes completely against analytics. Bill Belichick is the antithesis of what Eugene Shin is here for. And I think the model we're going for is young offensive-minded guy paired with old former head coach candidate, defensive coordinator. But you hire the GM first, hire a fully fleshed out staff, and then you get to building. We'll get the stadium, we'll get the headquarters, and that name conversation, which I don't care about. If you want to have it after things are done. The priorities are coming first. This is not Dan Snyder. This is not, let me spend millions to parade a logo on the side of my private jet. This is not spend millions in court cases to sue fans. This is not melt ice cream in the defensive coordinator's office to prove a point about his vanilla defense. This is patience. This is measurement. This is pragmatic approach. Businessmen, we're under new management. We're not under the old shit. And Carolina fans, I feel for you. My heart goes out to you. You're about to endure a couple decades of bullshit, nonsense, and a billionaire playing with his toy of an NFL franchise. And I think we actually got the right guys here in Washington to build ours. Josh Harris speaks. Let me know what you thought in the comments and pull up to the game preview tonight at 7:30 EST on the channel. Till next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.